Yup. Talking about Avowed and my thoughts on it so far. I don't know if I'll finish it. This is not my gameplay. This is MK Ice and Fire. I did play the game, and record it, but I didn't have a good time recording it. So it's just a dual gameplay. Not really interesting. But right off the bat, my biggest takeaway from Avowed is it cuts a lot of corners. When you compare Avowed to other games, which you should do, I've heard a lot of people say like when you compare a game to another game, well, then you're going to be disappointed. That is a bad take. You should compare games to other games because that's how you know what's good or bad. That's why we have star ratings and everything. If there was no such thing as ratings, then everything would just be good. But no, Avowed cuts a lot of corners. When you even compare to games like Dragon Dogma 2, it cuts a lot of corners and it's police in the world. When I mean police is like attacking the innocents in this game. It just doesn't exist. You could have easily just had, I attack a citizen, have some OP guards come and attack me. But they don't have that. They didn't like just put that in. They knew that's something people like. They knew that's something people actually engage with. Every gamer has played a RPG. You went up to a innocent and you hit him to see what would happen. And yes, most games will have police come and attack you. Elder Scrolls does it. Fallout does it, and Dragon Dogma 2 does it, to name a few. This game just doesn't do it. The how do you town? The town in this game is so it's just there. There's no reason in this town to actually look around. I've tried it in this town. There's just NPCs. It's not like you're going to come across something secret or cool that you're wondering if other players found. Uh, but the world is boring. There's a lot of doors that don't open, and it's like, then why have them? Like Dragon Dogma 2 also doesn't have this problem. Uh, like Dragon Dogma 2 is a game I really appreciate. Although DD2 was good, I do think DD2 was good, but it did have a lot of flaws. But DD2 didn't cut corners. The problem is like what DD2 did is like it had everything, it just wasn't of quality. This game just doesn't have certain things. And like my biggest thing with Avowed is, and I was thinking like, is it even Avowed if it's a different tone? Because I've always wondered. I was playing the game and I was wondering like, this could have been great, but why did they choose a very lighthearted tone game? This feels like a Cartoon Network a Fin Adventure Time game. But you could have wondered like what would it be like if this game had the vibe of Shadow of Mordor or had the tone of a what's another a tone of a Dark Riders or a Dante's Inferno. And I'm not saying the gameplay, I'm saying the tone, like the evilness. I was thinking like, why didn't Avowed make third person Path of Exile 2? And that's basically what Avowed could have been. It could have been the third person Path of Exile 2, but they didn't do it. And it's weird because Avowed is $70, which is my biggest problem with Avowed. And I've always like people like say don't compare games. Well, then how come Avowed gets to be $70? Avowed being $70 means it's on the same quality level because that's what price means. That's why the games get priced at $40 to $5 to 70 because that means it's of quality. So if Avowed is $70, that means it's up there with games like Warhammer, Elden Ring, Red Dead Redemption, Final Fantasy 16, and many more games. It being priced $70 means, hey, we are the same of quality. That's why we're setting our price here. Avowed, and that's why like I don't get why people are like trying to give Avowed a pass. And I'm not saying you can't like Avowed. I mean, that's your opinion. If you like Avowed, that's that's perfectly fine. But when you say Avowed and games like Elden Ring on the same quality level, well, then that's the problem, because that's just not true. Avowed is not even on the same quality level of Starfield. Uh, Starfield, like I said, Starfield had everything. Starfield was another game that had everything, but it wasn't of quality. They weren't missing anything in Starfield. They just wasn't of quality. This game, which I think is worse, is it doesn't have things it should have. It just doesn't have it. It's not like when you go to have like it's like getting shoes without shoelaces. I'd rather have broken shoelaces or messed up shoelaces than just no shoelaces at all. I'd rather have a messed up roof over my head than no roof at all. I'd rather have, bad tires on my car than no tires at all. This game just doesn't have tires. It's it's a weird feeling. Even the people in the town, I was wondering like, why doesn't the game have blood? I don't know if that's the setting. I never looked at it, but this game doesn't have like a lot of blood. There's no decapitations. There's no heads on skulls. And it's like maybe that's not even Avowed at that point, which is not. But when you go back and you look at the Avowed launch trailer, the Avowed launch trailer is not the same tone as this game. The Avowed launch trailer is literally just Lord of the Rings. And it's literally a hint at Lord of the Rings because you have the arrow coming down, which in Lord of the Rings, I think it's a hint, but in Lord of the Rings, you have the cans of the skeleton falling down the tomb. I think it's called a tomb. The mines. The skeleton falling down the mines, and it's glowing as it's falling in the movie. And after that, you have the Balrog come out the cave, and all you see is a glow. This game, I don't know if it has a Balrog in it because I didn't play that long, but this game misses. It's not the same tone, and it's wondering like, what could Avowed have been if it had the tone of a Lord of the Rings game? What could Avowed have been if it had the tone of a Path of Exile game? Like, and I mean tone like in everything. But yeah, the good thing about the game, or the decent thing about the game, is its combat. I think the combat's pretty good. That's probably the only thing I think is good. You know, the game, it's just not difficult enough. The monsters are not challenging. You kind of wonder. I've always said this when it comes to open world games. In my opinion, I never understood why. Like Starfield is a good example. Why the worlds in open world games are so huge, but empty. Well, where if you got rid of all the extra space in the world that took time to create, and actually made more monsters and more weapons and more combat sequences between bosses, I think you have a better game. But for some reason, these open world games just love to make their world so huge, and nothing pays off for it because you don't want to explore it. And that's like with Hogwarts Legacy, one of my favorite open world games. Is that in Hogwarts Legacy you are actually encouraged to look at the world. You're not always just trying to get out of it. I remember in Hogwarts Legacy, the Living Forest. It's a very good place to be in. It's not just boring. The vibe, the sky turns blue, spiders start crawling. You're just wandering, and then you see a random troll. This game doesn't have that. This game, you just wants to fast travel or just walk straight to the point. Even Hogwarts Legacy, the school in Hogwarts Legacy is very alive. Like you just have random people like the personalities of Hogwarts Legacy students are so good. Because there's a quest in Hogwarts Legacy where a girl wants you to do a Hogwarts Legacy test. She basically quizzes you on your Harry Potter knowledge, and she's like, just for this little mission, she has a lot of personality. She throws jokes at you. If you messes up jokes, she'll know. And it's just things like that made Hogwarts Legacy really amazing. Because their characters in Hogwarts Legacy are not placeholders for missions. They're characters. In this game, like characters are just placeholder for missions. You don't really care for them. And Hogwarts Legacy also has a lighter tone to it. I mean, not a lighter tone, but Hogwarts Legacy has a tone to it more than this. In Hogwarts Legacy, you have a sense of um, danger, a sense of adventure. What's it called? Purpose in Hogwarts Legacy, and they show that right off the bat when you get in, spoilers in Hogwarts Legacy, but when you get attacked by a dragon in Hogwarts Legacy, like right off the bat, like you know the game is trying to take itself seriously, and it does a very good job. But in this game, you just let's do objective, swing my sword, skip dialogue, which I start doing because the characters are placeholders for dialogue. Uh, I mean, Hogwarts Legacy is not an RPG. I mean, it is a role playing game, but it's not a decision making game. The story's already wrote for you. I'm pretty sure you can get a different ending in Hogwarts Legacy, but the game is pretty well story oriented in terms of its main story. But like, there's so many side quests in Harry Potter Hogwarts Legacy where it's like they didn't have to give this one character I'm probably never going to talk again this much personality. Like the dude that sells you your brooms in Harry Potter is very he's just like he's the guy that sells you his brooms. You know him. He has his own unique voice, his own unique jokes. He his love for brooms. He's not just a placeholder for you to come get your brooms, which guess what? This game has that. After the shopkeeps, like the shopkeeps in this game, you get like one or two lines of dialogue about them, and they never talk again. But in Hogwarts Legacy, it doesn't stop. It's not like you come back to the shop and it says, "Oh, what do you want to buy?" No, it literally doesn't stop in Hogwarts. It just keeps going forever and ever and ever in Hogwarts Legacy. And that literally went above and beyond. And Hogwarts Legacy is another game where it's like Hogwarts Legacy had everything in terms of a RPG and a storytelling game, and it did not cut corners. Like Hogwarts Legacy did not cut corners in its game. This game did cut corners a lot. The AI is atrocious in this game. That's atrocious. Like there's been plenty of times like it's just the AI is just so bad. You just hold RT and they just look at you and you just swing and you just repeat. But yeah, I don't think Avowed is a $70 price game. I don't even is it 40? And when I say like Avowed is a $40 price game only in budget, but not in quality. Because when you look at a game like Lies of P, which was not full price, you look at a game like Remnant 2, which was not full price. What's another game that's Helldivers 2 is another game that did not drop full price. Grand Blue versus Rising is another game that did not. Grand Blue versus Fantasy Rising is another game that did not drop full price, and you gotta wonder like, why do these games have to cost $40, and Avowed gets to cost $70? And that's my main problem. Like, Avowed is not $70. Games like Wulong, Fallen Destiny, is another $40 game that's fucking amazing, and it's twice the quality of this game. Avowed has way more quality than this game. I mean, Wulong Fallen Destiny has way more quality than this game. And you can say it's shorter, yes. You can say it's a smaller budget game, yes. But the time spent with Wulong will be better spent and more loved than it will in Avowed. Just because a game is bigger doesn't mean it's good. You can give me a lot of food. You can give me a lot of a food I don't like. I'm not going to like it just because it's a lot of it. If I don't like Brussels sprouts and you give me 500 Brussels sprouts, it doesn't make the Brussels sprouts taste good. If you give me one burger, I'll take one burger over 500 Brussels sprouts because I like the burger. And it's like, just because Avowed is good and has budget doesn't make up for it being a bad game. And it's not a bad game, but it's not $70 game. it literally meets the criteria for being a video game and then stops. And it's like, how is that fair to Avowed? I mean, how is that, like I said, if Avowed is $70, how is that fair to games like Final Fantasy 16, Hogwarts Legacy, God of War Ragnarok, Elden Ring, Red Dead, Warhammer? Them games cost $70 too. That means, um, in what would you call it? What would you call it? In quality, they're the same. That's what it means to both cost $70. That means that the games I just named and Avowed are can sit at the same table and be like, we are all the same, and that's just simply not true. But that is my review on Avowed. Peace. I'll see you next video, and goodbye.